lose. Break down the door when I'm coming through, and they don't control the way that I move. I do what I choose, give me the play and I'm running it. Shout out the fans who bumping it. They know I'm the man, I've been in demand. I made a few M's, I'm loving it. And I made a beat, you know that it's knocking. Keeping receipts whenever they talking. They be asleep whenever I clock in. Look at my bank account and I just start really rocking. Yeah, in my prime, living real life, all they living online. When I wake up, I do what I want. Work for myself, I don't need cosigns. No days off, I stick to the grind. Still got too many thoughts in my mind. Been fed up, but I'm all good now. It's a new year, but it's still my time. Ayy, standing on business, looking for more and I'm pushing the limit. My foot on the gas, won't stop to refill it. And I want it all, won't stop till I get it. I'm coming for everything, nobody blocking me. Water my grass, I'm growing a money tree. I hear them talking, but they all be mumbling. Looking around, don't see nobody, they all be under me, yeah. The ones who be doing the least, always be talking the most. 2016, I was fearing defeat. Now I be living my life on the throne. Know that I make it look easy, but I still had to go weather the storm. Now that I'm back and I'm ready for anything, it's gonna be my year, I'ma let it be known. Yeah. No, I don't want you. Know that I need you. Making assumptions, I'm keeping it peaceful. Thought that I knew you, but that ain't the real you. I've been trying to leave, but you know that I be pulling up, whipping the foreign. I don't want fame, I just want love. I don't want fame, I just want trust. Why they all tryna knock me down? They should all know I'ma stay up. Everybody wanna play me, everybody wanna change me. Nobody ever gon' faze me. No fake accounts like KD, doing the shit that I want to. Nobody I'll ever run to. Every time that I come through, take shots but I'm gun proof. Know that I'm shooting right back, killing them when I be dropping the track. Killing them and they be bringing it back. Killing them so I be wearing all black. Always been ready, this ain't a game, no confetti. I got my aim and I'm steady. I got the tunes like Ed, Ed and Eddie. I pull up and I let it go. No reply but I read it though. Let my music just tell it though. All my shit been selling so I know you heard it. I tell the truth, no rewording. I'm telling facts, I'm assertive. It's building up like a burden. I got the weight on my shoulders. I'm gonna battle like soldiers. I'm always keeping composure. Nobody stopping my motor. And I'm gonna go and get everything I really wanted. I don't care about money, but keep it 100. Invest in myself when the money was running, cause I just knew everyone really would love it. I don't want fame, I just want love. I don't want fame, I just want trust. Why they all tryna knock me down? They should all know I'ma stay up. And I wonder what it feels like when dreams are real life. When they gon' realize I don't care about fame, don't care about chains, don't care about lames. I want them to know my name, only so they can hear all of my flames. Said I'm insane, but now they just see me on top. I'm getting everything I wanted, but the grind never gon' stop. Cause I could lose it all tomorrow. I don't care about the follows, I could drown in all my sorrow. I just wanna hit the lotto, make a milli for my fam. But I'ma do it how I want it, hope the music gon' expand. And my album like the Chronic, I'm a real doctor, no fake shit. Gonna change my name when I make it, just to let them know that it's possible. Making music in the honor roll, staying in school is a good thing. There's so many ways you could win. That work ethic is built in, and I've been a boss like a kingpin. Wake up and I pray up, praying that I never fall down. But praying ain't the only thing, your dedication makes it all count. Stick with it from the get-go, you never wanna just let go. Cause anything is possible, if you don't try then you'll never know. I don't want fame, I just want love. I don't want fame, I just want trust. Why they all tryna knock me down? They should all know I'ma stay up. And I wonder what it feels like when dreams are real life. When they gon' realize Yeah, whoa. Ayy, I've been minding my business, I ain't worried about critics. They tryna tell me what to do, it's funny they never did it. The only time I leave my crib is to pay the bank a visit. And I be telling them by my nose, I run this shit. Hey, I'ma do what they can't do, I'ma go where they can't go. Kill the beat with an attitude and I take them down like Django. Dressed up in that camo, when I come they don't see me. Beat the game like 2 times, but I came back for a 3-peat. Ballin' like I'm MJ or LeBron James, I'm Hall of Fame. I've been a god like Charlemagne and I'm wearing gold like Notre Dame. They feeling cold, but I lit the flame. They think I'm close, but I'm out of range. They in my league, but not on my level. Comparing me, but we not the same. I'm too driven. First class, I move different. Big bags make 2 million. Ain't living how you living. Big crib with a balcony, see the whole city with a new vision. 2023, I'ma be coming back here on a new mission. Come on. I've been minding my business, I ain't worried about critics. They tryna tell me what to do, it's funny they never did it. The only time I leave my crib is to pay the bank a visit. And I be telling them by my nose, I run this shit. Hey, I'ma do what they can't do, I'ma go where they can't go. Kill the beat with an attitude and I take them down like Django. Dressed up in that camo, when I come they don't see me. Beat the game like 2 times, but I came back for a 3-peat. They talking about goats, I'm fitting the mold. I'm running the game, not selling my soul. I'm shooting my shot and then I reload. I'm never gonna break, I'm never gonna fold. I took a trip to Dubai just to go buy me some gold. I fell asleep while I'm in the sky, then I get back to work when I get home. Nobody better than me, I be delivering regularly like I'm Uber Eats. I put in the work in the studio, then I got my shorty in the bed waiting for me. Lately I'm living a life, I don't need to post it online. I used to dream of these days, only a matter of time. I've always been ready to shine, hey. I've been minding my business, I ain't worried about critics. They tryna tell me what to do, it's funny they never did it. The only time I leave my crib is to pay the bank a visit. And I be telling them by my nose, I run this shit. Hey, I'ma do what they can't do, I'ma go where they can't go. Kill the beat with an attitude and I take them down like Django. Dressed up in that camo, when I come they don't see me. Beat the game like 2 times, but I came back for a 3-peat. Yeah, looking for me, but I've been on the road. See what I do when they already know. Following dreams and I can't let them go. Back to the ground and I'm back in my zone. Ready for battle, I'm ready for war. I got it all, but I wanted more. Nobody taking what I got in store. This what I'm doing it for. Remember they doubted me, I had to bring the best out of me. I put the pen to the paper, that's all that I need. And I've been a boss, I'm paying my salary. We had to stay at the DoubleTree, now we be living in luxury. Keeping my circle small, I don't need opinions from nobody under me. Feeling like they all tryna hold me down. Know that it's my time, I'm coming for that crown. Ready for the battle, I won't ever back out. Let them know that I want all the glory now. Feeling like they all tryna hold me down. Know that it's my time, I'm coming for that crown. Ready for the battle, I won't ever back out. Let them know that I want all the glory now. I'm making it happen the way that I want. Know who I am and I don't need a front. Becoming the man that I said that I was. Love it or hate it, I don't give up. Put in the effort, I get the results. I'm trying to cop a new color and truck. I'm about to run it up until I'm richer than Elon Musk. I need a Billy like Eilish, they need to get a new stylist. I'm not a pilot, but I know I still be the flyest. I got a touch like the Midas, don't even try it. Coming for me and you playing with fire. All of that capping, we know you a liar. I'm not surprised, I'm on the road to the riches, your time expired. Feeling like they all tryna hold me down. Know that it's my time, I'm coming for that crown. Ready for the battle, I won't ever back out. Let them know that I want all the glory now. Feeling like they all tryna hold me down. Know that it's my time, I'm coming for that crown. Ready for the battle, I won't ever back out. Let them know that I want all the glory now.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good everybody, and welcome to What the Freak is Neal Doing on a Wednesday night in an unscheduled stream. That's right, everybody. welcome to Random Neal is bored when the wife is out of town stream night. That's exactly what's happening here. Brian said it best in chat. No one ever knows what Neal's doing, especially Neal. I literally gave the mod team 5 minutes of heads up that was like, I just got off a call. It was really awesome. It was with somebody I trust and respect a lot. We had a really good conversation. I went downstairs, I ate some food, I came back up, and I was like, I could do one of two things. I could sit on the couch and scroll TikTok, or I can come up here and talk to my favorite community. And guess what? You won out over TikTok, team. You won out over TikTok. That's right. This is typically what happens if you're new to the stream. Obviously, we have our regularly scheduled shenanigans that happen, but it is no stranger that when the wife is out of town and my choices are to either sit around the house and be bored, I instead decide to come up and hang out with my favorite people in the world. So, shenanigans. Welcome. That's right. While the wife is away, that's right. The Bayou Beast has got it, right? While the wife is away and the weather is too cold to golf, Neal streams away. Yes, that is the other implied downside, right? Is that it's snowing here. It's snowing in Raleigh. There's obviously no golf tonight. So welcome everybody. Welcome to Random Neal Night stream. I have no agenda. I have a completely YOLO mentality of how tonight is going to go. I have no idea how tonight is going to go. I couldn't sucker anybody else to come on stream, although I did try, and we may still be able to continue to sucker some people into coming on stream later. I've got a couple text messages out. This night could go one of two ways. It could be absolutely hilarious, or it could absolutely suck. Who the fuck knows? With that being said, let me hit the typical high points of the rules, right? If anybody's new in chat, I see a couple first-time chatters. Good to see the first-time chatters as well. That caught me by surprise, absolutely. My name is Neal Bridges. As you can tell, there is no shortage of caffeine and probably shouldn't say that live on stream. There's no shortage of excitement running through my veins whenever I turn this camera on and speak to you. But with that being said, we have a couple rules in place. Absolutely no toxicity. What does that mean? We have a zero tolerance for toxicity. God, I totally forgot my own script. That means no racist, sexist, misogynistic, elitist, or otherwise toxic behavior here on script. We don't tolerate that here whatsoever. Everybody stretch the imagination. We like to keep chat full of awesomeness. So make sure chat is full of awesomeness. With that being said, we do have moderators in chat. I always love my moderators. Moderators obviously have to put up with my randomness and absolute disrespect for their personal time. Do I know where I am right now? Absolute disrespect for my personal time, and so please drop some clappies in chat, drop some W chats, drop some bits, drop some sub. I don't care what you drop in chat. Don't drop any poos. Drop some stuff in chat and give a huge shout out to the moderators. Moderators are here to keep chat free of racist, sexist, misogynist, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior. All shout outs go to my wife for the introduction of the band hammer and teaching the mods how to use it and teaching them how to use it very, very liberally. They're not afraid to use it. So if you do find yourself in a pickle, getting into a disagreement with the mods, do highly encourage you to hop into our Discord channel. Make sure you do communicate with our moderators if you feel like you have been unfairly penalized for your antics in chat. Somebody's aware of the South. Somebody is highly aware of the South. Only folks in the South will understand, fueled by those Bojangles biscuits. Fueled by those Bojangles biscuits. Mods are not here, however, however, words are difficult. To stifle chat by any stretch of imagination, we are streaming live across YouTube and Twitch today. I'm deciding to leave the LinkedIn and the X crew out and just hang out here with my folks over on Twitch and YouTube tonight. They're not here to stifle chat by any stretch of imagination, so we do highly encourage you to participate in the shenanigans, participate in the antics, have some fun as we hang out here tonight. I am going to do something tonight. We did close out the first of multiple giveaways that we were gonna have. That one closed today. We had an amazing number of participants in the giveaway. We had, looks like, 52 participants across both the Try Hack Me vouchers as well as the Hack the Box vouchers. And so tonight I'll spend some time congratulating our winners on the Try Hack Me vouchers. I'm not even going to pronounce that Discord name because I have no idea how I would even say it. Res1 Coder and Witch of the Middle River over on Discord, you 3 won the Try Hack Me vouchers. And then Jack Sparrow, Shadow, and Net Frazier. Net Frazier. Who let a mod enter into a giveaway? I call for a recount on that for a Hack the Box voucher there. So we'll get those settled up today as well on the stream tonight. Maz with the 3-stream streak. I'm pretty sure Maz has attended more streams than that. Twitch, you better get your act together on that one. The scandal. Inside trading. Inside trading on the Try Hack Me vouchers. We were actually supposed to have a stream today. I was supposed to do Sec Data Ops. We had another flaky guest. Unfortunately, our guest today canceled on me at the last minute, and so we had to quickly rush and update the schedule. This is a reminder why we encourage you to follow those social media accounts and make sure that you do have notifications on so that you are aware of when we have to make those last minute changes, to the stream schedule. It's a good opportunity to make sure you're in the Discord and that you've got your stream notifications on for Discord as well. All of those things are there to keep you informed about what's going on. With that being said, we're still absolutely going to do Tea with a Hacker on Friday. As of right now, there's no foreseeable issue with Tea with a Hacker on Friday. As a matter of fact, all things pending, unless somebody decides to vomit all over my schedule, we will have Tea with a Hacker on Friday. And this is why the moderators are awesome. Thank you very much for that, Brian. This is why you shouldn't let me do the controls. Cybertooth says status update on the Jeep conversion. That's a great question. I've got pictures. I'll actually post those over on I'll post them over on Instagram right now while we're chatting. I'll put up 2 pictures over on Instagram right now. So head on over to Instagram if you want to kind of see status of the Jeep update. But the last status of the Jeep update as I look at it from my shop. So for those who don't know, last November, I think it was, I sent the Jeep off to have a Hemi put into the Jeep. So we're having the V6 swapped out. The V6 is getting swapped out, and instead, what is getting put into the spot of the V6 is a 6.4 liter V8 from AEW crate motor. So if you head on over to Instagram, I'm uploading the pictures for that now. So you can kind of see the status of it. As of the pictures that you're seeing, I just put them over on Instagram. If you want to head on over to AEW. I meant AEW. I didn't mean the, AEV. Thank you, Amoeba. Whatever the company is. I don't know. That's not necessarily my forte. I just pay the bills and make sure it gets done, whatever. But I just posted them over on Instagram. You can take a look at it. They got the new engine in. It's getting the new 8-speed transmission put into it too from the new JLs as well. And so when I talked to Clint, who's my dude over at Ruby Trucks, I didn't tag Ruby Trucks in that photo. If you know of Ruby Trucks, give those guys a follow. They're pretty awesome. But as of the last update from Clint, which I emailed him on Monday and asked, he said the drive shafts came in on Friday, which is good. They had to put brand new drive shafts on it. And so it should be ready by the end of this week, if not next week. So I'm I'm super excited for it. Obviously, if anybody's followed me for a while, my Jeep was my first passion before the golf thing kicked off. And a huge off-roader. I love taking the Jeep off-roading. And so the Jeep's been a fun little toy to have, and you'll see when you look at the pictures on Instagram, like we've done tons of work to it, right? It's got a 6-inch King coilover long arm kit on it. We've obviously put 37-inch tires on it. It's got, all sorts of body armor upgrades on it. It had a RIP supercharger in it before. So this is actually, we've also basically taken the RIP supercharger off of it and decided to upgrade even outside the RIP supercharger to the V8. And so I'm super excited for it. For those who don't know, or if you're interested in meetups, and I always talk about this, in April, we take our yearly pilgrimage to Daytona Beach, Florida for Jeep Beach. So if you're a Jeep fan, if you have a Jeep, I was upset that my good friend Angry Amoeba got rid of his Jeep. I was really hoping, to get him down to Daytona Beach as well. But if you've got a Jeep, come on down to Daytona Beach for Jeep Beach. We'll hang out. We'll have lots of fun. That's one of those opportunities where, you get to spend some time with me, and we'll have some good time. But if you're in the area, let me know around that time of Daytona Beach for Jeep Beach. You can take a look at the Jeep. We'll get some conversation going on. Plenty of opportunity to chat. I'll crash Jeep Beach. It's a lot of fun. Fockets, if Fockets is on, Fockets went with me a couple years back. He had a lot of fun, doing some of the Jeep stuff that we did, for Jeep Beach. It's fundamentally a great time. It is the pilgrimage is the one time a year where Carmen and I really get away, and we really just kind of hang out and chill. It is. It's awesome. But it's good. Thanks for asking about the Jeep conversion. I'm excited for the Jeep conversion. Obviously, when they bring it, they're going to bring it back on a flatbed. As they bring it back on a flatbed, I'll take a video and I'll put the video up on Instagram. But if you head on over to Instagram now for the next 24 hours, you can kind of see the current status of the build, and you'll see the motor and the transmission in there. Typically when we do these, I'm really just kind of yapping most of the time. This doesn't preclude, obviously, dropping any questions in chat that you happen to have. Don't forget that we always try to facilitate any questions whatsoever. Any questions whatsoever? Yeah, words are really, really hard. So obviously, don't feel afraid to drop any questions in chat. I have a couple things that I had thought about doing for tonight. I'll give you a couple of examples. I saw we were kind of talking. I saw some people talking about have we had viewers call in? We have had viewers call in before. We've actually set up a really good process to do viewer call in. I have not prepped the moderator team to even remotely be prepared to do any type of viewer call-in, but if that's of particular interest to the audience, that may be of particular interest. I did actually also reach out to Cyber, who I do still owe a mentoring session to. If he or she shows up, we may try to drag them up on stream for their mentor session. One of the things that I would really like for you all to see and experience is what it's like to get mentoring, right? And so we may experiment with some things tonight. I always like to. The mod team and I are at odds. And they, unfortunately, align way too much with Carmen in terms of having their I's dotted and their T's crossed. I'm very much like, YOLO, fuck it. Let's just give it a try. Right? So that's oftentimes, that's right. It's oftentimes what happens between the mod team and I is I'm just like, let's just do it. And they're like, no, let's create a plan. Fuck the plan. God, that's twice now in the last 5 minutes I've said the F word. Hey, was it 30 seconds? Look at that. Look at, we do got some volunteers as tributes in there. That's awesome. going to start playing golf, best advice. This actually came up in a work conversation today. Listen, I understand that golf isn't the most exciting thing to think about sometimes, right? But in the work conversation we were having today, it was a CISO had told somebody on our team that they either needed to buy an expensive watch or learn how to play golf if they wanted to interact with executives. Now, I thought both of those were rather egregious extremes. This individual chose to buy an expensive watch versus playing golf. And I was like, well, that's probably not the best choice that I ever would have made, but I understand what you're talking about there, right? And so I do think, like when we talk about career progression, and I know this is a weird conversation to have, especially as we talk about golf, but I want to give you an example. Right? So last week I was in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta to have a dinner with a room full of business people, right? And I got told on Friday, so at Dosco, I know that you'd said like, oh my God, why didn't we meet up in Atlanta? I literally got told on Friday at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon that I needed to be in Atlanta on Monday. So I just didn't have enough time to get the message out to the community that I was going to be in Atlanta. So I will be back in Atlanta. I will give you a heads up, and we can absolutely do a one-on-one session while I'm in Atlanta. But at this table that I was at, there were probably 15 or so various types of business executives there. And, you know, I got sat at one end with a group of people that I did not know at all. And, you know, there was somebody sitting next to me who did know me, who reached over and said, hey, Neal, how's the golf journey going? And so we got to talking about the golf journey. Before I knew it, the gentleman who is sitting across from me said, oh, Neal, you play golf? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And we started talking about golf. And what that translated into was there was obviously a lot of like that pre-golf conversation. What do you know about golf? What's your experience level? Like, what's your handicap? Like, you know, and so we got into a lot of the things around golf that I've shared with a lot of you here on channel, on stream before. The long and the short of it ended up being that 30 to 45 minutes in the conversation, he had obviously established that we could be compatible from a conversation perspective on a golf course. And he was like, let's change phone numbers. And next time you come down here to Atlanta, I will literally get you into any golf course, public or private, that you want to. And I was like, what do you mean any golf course, public or private, that I wanted to? And he was like, oh yeah, I know the golf director, the golf athletic director at Georgia Tech University. We can get you in touch with any of the Georgia Tech folks or alum that happen to be in the area. I know everybody, at any of the members clubs inside the greater Atlanta area. We can go to any of those. I'm well connected in here. We can go to any club you want to in Atlanta. I looked him up afterwards because I wasn't going to look at my phone and check him on LinkedIn afterwards. And he is a retired CEO of multiple large companies that were bought and acquired over the course of his career. Right? I just met him that night. We just got to talking about golf, and we had enough of a bond that he was willing by the end of the night to entertain me golfing anywhere the next time or anytime I come to Atlanta. Right? And so when you look at that from a network conversation, when you look at that from, a relationship conversation, when you look at that like, this is somebody who could open doors for me. I have no idea what those doors could look like. They could be wood doors. They could be glass doors. They could be paper doors. I have no idea. Right? But at the end of the day, I made a connection with an individual who could be significant in some way, shape, or form. And so we could go play golf. We're going to play 18 holes. That's 3.5 to 4 hours where we could talk about Lord knows what, right? And it could open another door, and it can open another door. And so, like, just I'm not saying that golf is the answer, but what I am saying is that golf opens up a lot of opportunities in the business world that I think very much get taken for granted. I'd actually read a statistic about 6 months ago, if I could find the article, I'll repost it, that said that there was actually some folks in the sales and marketing area who were actually being asked during their interview process about their golf capabilities because that was actually a hireable quality in that sales and marketing realm. Right? I know it's not a fun conversation. I know everybody's like, golf, how did we go from fucking cyber to golf? Well, because if you're looking to network, sometimes you got to look in the most unruly of places. Speaking of networking, oh wait, actually I need to answer this question first. So going to start playing golf, best advice, don't sleep on lessons. Hands down, do not sleep on lessons. Do not do YouTube golf to learn how to do it. Right? I did it before. I've had several coaches over my career. And now that I'm decent, and I still use the air quotes decent, right? When people ask me if I'm any good, I'm saying like, well, if you're a bad golfer, you think I'm amazing. And if you're an amazing golfer, you probably think I'm terrible, right? So that's how I classify my golf game these days, right? But now that I'm where I'm at on my golf game, single digits handicap, I look at YouTube golf and TikTok golf and things like that, and all of that advice is hot garbage. All of that advice is hot effing garbage, right? And so I can unequivocally say that a coach, lessons, something like that is hands down the best money you could invest in golf, period, end of discussion, right? Even going to Skillist, I think is the name of the app. I know I thought I had it still on my phone. Maybe I deleted it off my phone. Oh, no, Skillest. I'll drop it here in Twitch chat. Skillest, right? Even going there, which is like you guys know I do coaching via TopMate, right? That's like the TopMate for golfing instructors on Skillist, right? And so even if you go there and you pay 15, 20, 50 bucks, whatever the case is for like a swing analysis for somebody there, do that before you ever go do YouTube golf. YouTube golf is the biggest waste of time. And so my best advice to you, get a coach. What I'll also say about golf is a perishable skill. It is, I would argue that golf is the most perishable skill. I can go 2 days without swinging the club on the simulator because work is crazy or whatever, and I still feel rusty when I go back in the simulator, right? And so don't take for granted that, like, don't go to a lesson and then be like, oh, I'm just not going to go practice for a while. You have to go practice. If you want to be good, you have to go practice, right? And so that would be my two biggest advice to you, right, is, get you a coach, but then also if you're going to try to be good at it, please go practice. It will make a world of difference in your golf game at the end of the day. It will absolutely make a massive, massive difference. Charlie says it best on YouTube. The watch is cheaper in the long run. A bajillion T%. A bajillion T%. The golf is, if you're not careful, I won't say that golf is unequivocally expensive, but if you're not careful, your spouse or your significant other may leave you for financial irresponsibility with golf. No, buying expensive clubs does not make you play better. But you cannot solve this, Beardsec. I had to make Beardsec sign a waiver if he wanted to come to the simulator to hit golf balls in the house. Don't listen to him. He showed me a picture of the golf clubs that he has in his garage, and I thought that he had stolen them from a museum. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And again, like, here's, like, let's be realistic for a second. I mean, I guess I'm always realistic. I am a better human because of golf. And that may sound super weird, but let me explain to you why. It exposes a lot of character flaws, right? Golf exposes a ton of character flaws. Sec IT guy ratted himself. I become violent in the golf simulator. Point made. Right? Golf exposes something about you. And the more you fight against that inner person, the worse you get at golf. And so you are forced to contend with how do you change who you are as a human so that you can be a better golfer. And so for me, that manifested itself in my inability to accept the fact that I couldn't control every situation. I don't know if you find this hard to believe or not, but I am a control freak. I know, shocking, right? And when I realized that I had to let it go on the golf course and that I had to just accept the shots for the way that they were, and that I couldn't rage in the golf cart, that I couldn't throw my club across the golf course, that I couldn't break a $600 driver across my knee because I sliced it hard. Like, when I realized that that didn't help my golf game, it actually made me a better human. Just a little self-reflection there on that one. It is very hard. It is very hard. I love talking about golf, though, because I'm not moving off of my goal with golf. My goal is to still make it to the PGA Tour. But I say that to say, if for some reason I didn't make it, I would argue that in the list of top five things that helped me get through cancer, committing to golf and getting good at it is probably in that top 5 list of things that helped me get through cancer. Question from Charlie over on YouTube. Any advice on how to deal with partners that are ignoring your security advice? Lots of people lately leaving exposed Fortinet, Sonic Wall VPN login pages up, even with all the vulnerabilities. I had a very similar conversation on Twitter. Charlie, if you go check a thread that I was at over on Twitter, somebody else had been very, very cynical about some of the bureaucracy, if you will, that comes with cybersecurity in the enterprise. We talk ad nauseum about this on stream, right? Because, and I don't say that from like, don't ask this question. I say that from like, it is probably still the number one question, the number one concern, if you will, that cybersecurity practitioners have when they come into an enterprise. Like, how in the world am I supposed to do my job when you refuse to patch, let alone put vulnerable software out on the internet? And I'm here to tell you that it will never not end. It will never not end. I've been in cyber my entire life in one way, shape, or another, right? And the first thing, I'm saying this because like the very first thing you ask is any advice on how to deal with partners. My first and foremost advice to you is to accept that it will never change. Right? Accept that you may not always win this fight. Accept that this will be one of the hardest fights that you ever have in your career, regardless of whether you're offensive security, defensive security, whether you're a CISO, whatever. Acknowledge that. That's going to be the first, we joke about this, right? You know, I've got a coachee that I coach, the same one that I was talking to earlier today. They'll know who they are because they were talking to me earlier today, who can't mentally accept the crossroads that they're at, and it is inhibiting their ability to make a rational decision moving forward. Love you. But the first thing that you have to do before you can fix the problem is to acknowledge that that problem exists. And the first way that you can acknowledge that is that you will never, ever, ever win this fight 100% of the time. Right? I'm going to tell one more story, and then I'll give you some very specific things really fast, right? Being at a startup has been really eye-opening for me on a lot of levels, right? I wouldn't trade the experience for the world. But I came from large enterprises and large organizations, right? Highly regulated enterprises and highly regulated organizations, where if I came to them and I came to the legal team and I said, we shouldn't do this because these are the risks, there were some very real conversations about whether that risk was worth accepting or not. And then I've been in some other organizations where I've come to them and I've explained a risk and I've said what the reasons for the risk are, and they've said, it's cheaper for us to pay the fines, the credit score reporting, whatever, than it was for us to remediate the risk. And so, you have to accept that a business is going to make business decisions based on the risk that they feel is most important to them, given their objectives. And all you can really do is your best to inform and educate on the risk. And that is your job. That is your job, is to inform, educate, and hopefully mitigate, and heaven help you if you have to respond to any risk. And so my advice to you, and I'll invoke our Lord and Savior Joel Fulton, who said it best, do you want to be right or do you want to win? And that's what you should ask yourself when you're engaging in these conversations with your partners, is do you want to be right or do you want to win? And when you think about that, the goals and objectives of what you're trying to achieve vary drastically between do you want to be right or do you want to win? You can't have both, Callie. You can't have both. the sooner you all accept that both doesn't exist in cyber, both don't exist in our world. This fantastic follow-up from My New Brain. Absolutely. Let's define what win is in this game. Right? And this is the hardest thing to teach in cyber. This is harder than teaching you how to hack. I'd gladly teach you how to hack 9 Ways to Sunday because that is so much easier than to teach you how to win. Let's start with that. Because winning in this game is the most movable goalpost that we have in our industry. God, I wish Jeff were here with this, right? God, I wish Joel was here. Man, I wonder if I could text Joel and get him on the horn, right? Winning varies from organization to organization, right? When I was working at Abbott and we were looking to acquire St. Jude Medical, and I can talk about this. It's been so long ago. We're well past NDAs. This is long and water under the bridge, right? I had been asked to build a program to do cybersecurity risk assessment during an M&A process, right? So we were going to buy St. Jude Medical, and I had to go help evaluate the risk, the cyber risk of M&A activity, right? So winning in that scenario, this may shock some of you, winning in that scenario was absolutely not finding out if I could hack their organization. It was absolutely not finding every vulnerability that I could. It was absolutely not reviewing their vulnerabilities and deciding that we couldn't acquire that company. Having, if any strategy I put together ended with telling the M&A team that we couldn't buy St. Jude Medical, I was not winning. Let's put it that way. Think about that for a second. No strategy for defining winning during an M&A ends with you can't buy this company. Right? And so winning for me in developing this strategy and executing this plan was all around how much risk can I highlight so that the company knew and was aware of what they needed to do to hedge their bets against the risk as much as possible. That was winning. Winning for me was if I came to them and said, I just looked at their incident reports for the last 6 months. They've had 3 ransomware attacks and they've never patched a single vulnerability. I think we need to leave them as disconnected from our network as long as possible until we can roll them into our vulnerability management process and make sure that their systems are patched and up to date, 6 months max. That's what winning looked like. If I got them to agree to that, that was winning. That's how you have to think about winning in this business. If you're a pen tester and you're pen testing an organization, you social engineering your way on the outside, and then you tell them that they just need to have user awareness training isn't winning. The biggest flaw that I see pen testers have when they come into this space is that they think winning is about exploiting boxes. Winning is not about exploiting boxes. Winning is about getting a company to commit to improving their security posture. Right? Winning for most pen testers should be, did you educate the defenders on the blind spots that they have during your test? That's what winning looks like. And anything else is an ego-driven exercise for you to walk around and be like, ha ha ha, I pwned you. Ha ha ha, look at me, ha, I pwned you. I did a TikTok on that because that's every pen tester's mentality that comes into this space, is that they think that it's a fucking movie and that they're just going to roll. What? This is what happens when she's out of town. Every pen tester thinks that they can raffle YOLO into exploiting boxes, and that's what the definition of winning is. And it's just not. And so I say to this question, you have to go into every scenario and you have to be prepared to move the goalpost on winning to win the fight, right? You've heard the saying, it's not, you may have won the fight, but you lost the war. Cybersecurity is a whole bunch of battles that you have to choose, winning and losing at the battle level every single time. I see some conversation happening in chat. I want to continue to encourage constructive back and forth. I encourage you to have differing opinions. Let's have constructive differing opinions in chat. That's very much what we are all about here. Leave your egos at the door and share these conversations in chat. Be respectful of your fellow cybersecurity practitioners, but I very much appreciate this. Dead Tricks, great Twitch. Same goes for red teaming pen testing, and losing weirdly toxic in a lot of places. Having good security is the win. That's a fantastic win. Having some form of a constructive, being able to talk with your stakeholders about security openly is a win in a lot of organizations. I'm sure there are 101 people in this chat who would tell you that one of their biggest problems that they've had is they can't even get their stakeholders to openly talk about cybersecurity. Building that trust relationship to even be able to do that is a massive win. Right? So you have to look at those wins in the macro universe of the battle. We absolutely can. I would, if you have specific questions that I could do tonight, absolutely, let's talk about it. Ask the questions, right? This is a very broad topic, and I could absolutely have this conversation. Matt and I have actually talked about this. Matt and I have talked about doing a stream where I do my one-on-ones with him as CEO of startup, right? Where I'm, being the CISO and I'm having the conversation with him, right, about things that we need to be prepared for. We're trying to figure out what the right way to do that is, without obviously disclosing anything sensitive or anything that could be legally tumultuous for us from a startup perspective, which is why, if you've got questions, let's ask the questions. What I'll tell you in some of you aren't going to like this answer, and I understand that. This answer's hard. I think most of you would be surprised to see me in a C-suite meeting. My strategy is different than a lot of other folks' strategies. Maybe it's carried over from, my hacker days. Who knows? But I do a lot of listening. Right? I do a ton of listening. And what I listen for, what I passively listen for, is I try to listen to everybody else's motivations. I try to listen to what everybody else thinks is important. I already know what's important to me. I already know what's important for the function that I service. I already know what my goals and objectives are. I already know what initiatives I want to press. And so in those C-suite meetings, you can do one of two things. You can start blabbing off at the mouth and talking about all of your problems, or you can listen and listen to everybody else who loves to talk in those meetings as well. And so I'll listen more than I talk in C-suite meetings. And the purpose of doing that is because I want to be able to relate what I need and what I want in ways that matter to my peer group around me. Right? I have to convince my fellow C-suite members that my way is a correct way. Or at least I have to get them on my team to allow me to complete my objectives. Right? And so I will listen. I'll spend a ton of time listening. Bobby was great CISO at Abbott. He was the first really good CISO that I worked for back in 2016, 2017, right? We built such a great relationship, and I can tell you that because we would do staff meetings, or we would do meetings with the CIO, or we would do meetings with the other EVPs, or he would bring me as his right-hand man to a meeting with the CIO to talk about cybersecurity. So it'd be the CIO, it'd be Bobby, who is the CISO, me, who is the deputy, and then it'd be a bunch of other EVPs around the table from across the business unit. So I was the lowest man in the totem pole there. And I would sit in that meeting and I would listen to everything. I would listen to everybody's talk track, Bobby's included. And they would all go back and forth and they would all talk about things. And then when Bobby found the right time, and he always knew when the right time was, he'd look over at me and say, "Neal, what do you think?" Imagine what that means in a room full of C-level executives for them to turn to the lowest ranked person, if you wanted to look at it that way, in the room to be like, "What do you think?" And it got that way because I could listen to the entirety of the argument. And while Bobby sat there and tried to negotiate on the front end our security position, I was actively listening to the rest of the room so that when Bobby was done talking and I had to come in as the closer, I knew what everybody else's pain points were, and I knew how to communicate in a way that would help speak to the things that were important to them. And there were very few times that Bobby and I would leave that meeting, right, where we didn't get what we wanted. Right? And so I think you'd be really surprised that those meetings can be, like, we talk about it being politics sometimes on the stream. Sometimes we use the word that you guys need to get used to the fact that you may have to learn how to be slightly political in a workspace environment. But if you listen to what I just described, how is that not some Game of Thrones shit? The only thing we were missing was some dragons and some swords, right? That's the only thing that was missing in that. But I think some of you would be surprised that the peek inside the meeting room exposes skill sets that nobody talks about, that nobody teaches in courseware, that you're never going to get from Udemy. You're never going to get exposed to that stuff because nobody knows how to teach it. Right? I love it. Like, make no mistake about it. I maybe it's slightly sadistic on my part. I don't know. I love the politics of the business. I don't love political knife fighting. It's rather dirty and kind of messy at times. But I do absolutely love playing the politics to get my way in an organization. Let's go back to the question that was asked before, right? When the question was like, how do you convince your partners? How do you convince your partners to not put vulnerable Fortinet firewalls out on the internet, right? I'm sure we would all love to believe that simply telling the IT team that you can't do that is the way to get the job done. Wouldn't it be great if we could just tell the IT team, don't put a vulnerable device on the internet, please, it won't get hacked? Do you realize that we'd have no job if IT actually listened to us? Just realize that. We'd have no job if IT was like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe we shouldn't put that vulnerable device on the internet. Right? And so, back to, do you want to be right or do you want to win? To win, sometimes you have to learn different ways to play the game. And I learned that I was really, really good at playing politics in an organization to help me win in arguments. And that was when we talk about career boosters, the politics, learning politics led to more winning led to more promotions, led to getting paid better, led to being more successful. Right? And so I say all that to say, I think a lot of you would be super surprised at what happens in the C-suite. Ask any questions. I tried to cover as much as I could. There's a lot there to cover about this, right? But I think some of you, I still say this, like, I want to teach you guys these subtle arts of being successful in your cyber career, because these things aren't talked about. These things aren't discussed. And these are the things that truly will make a difference in your career. When you can learn how to play politics appropriately at any level, this is not just for the C-suite. If you can do this at the practitioner level, if you can do this at the tactical level, you will win. Hands down, every day of the week. Right? Winter Jolt, the books question is always an interesting one, right? I don't know. Man, this is going to sound so bad. I don't necessarily know that I think books about cyber are always the best ones. I think technical books age too fast. Right? I think technical books age too fast. The tech around us moves so fast. And I want to give you an example of this. So I do coaching through TopMate. One of the things that I do is I have a small cohort of folks that I provide some talent management, services for. I've got a group of CISOs that use me regularly to help them place talent. One of the members of the community who's a coachee of mine, we've been chatting for a while, we've been working for a while, has taken me up on my nudges to get into the AI space and to become rather smart around AI. They also have a development background. And so they've gone and they've self-learned and self-taught through labs and education and doing stuff on their own. They've taught themselves all this stuff around AI. They've not read a book, right? They haven't taken a class on Udemy, right? They've just self-learned all this. So a couple weeks ago, one of my CISOs came to me and he said, "Hey, Neal, this is the profile of the person that I'm looking for. Can you help me find somebody?" And I said, "I got just the person for you." And I got them set up with an interview, and they're moving their way to the second stage of the interview. The CISO was like, "That dude was perfect. He's awesome. Let's move him on to the next phase of the interview. Let's get this process rolling." I'm sure he's read cyber books over his career that were technical, but none of the books he read led him to that interview spot there. Because you're not going to read AI books that I think are going to help you today. The space is moving too fast. And I don't want to dissuade people from reading. I hear motivational stories all the time about like, oh, the best people in the world read 40 books a year. And I'm just like, man, I probably haven't read 40 books in my entire life. Right? And there are people out there who read 40 books a year. More power to you. More power. I've got 2 audiobooks that I bought on audiobook because I couldn't stand the thought of reading the pages in the real books. And I still haven't made it through the first chapter of the audiobooks. Right? And so I struggle giving you recommendations, and this is something you can always expect from me. I will not fill you full of bullshit that I wouldn't be willing to do myself. Right? And so I don't think that there are books that I would recommend. And especially not that develop methodology. That's one of the problems that I've always had. You know what I've tried to do to find methodology? I've tried to go read war books on military strategy and derive military strategy into cyber methodology. Because that's how my brain thinks. Right? Tried being the operative word there. So I don't have a great answer for you here. We have amazing people in chat. If anybody Art of War is probably the only book that I will realistically get every single time on my shelf, right? Is Art of War. I'll read some business books on occasion if they're really, really good business books. I've got a couple of business books. The title of one of them is I'd have to go out there and get it. I can't think of the name of it. It's a book on negotiating. That one I read because I thought it was really, really good, and it talked about behavioral analysis of people as you go to do negotiating, right? But I encourage everybody in chat. I think, Maz, do you want to promote? No, do you want to? No, let's not promote that just yet. Let's not promote that just yet. I'm checking chat. I'm checking chat logs for something. Let's not promote that just yet. We'll promote that later. We'll promote that later. Get into Discord. This is a fantastic topic that I think should be crowdsourced, is my bottom line, right? I think this is a fantastic topic that you should take the advice of the community and that everybody should weigh in, because my opinion is highly jaded on this. And I don't know that I could give you a non-jaded view on what the answer to this is. And that's just me being honest and transparent with you, because I'm so cynical on books. And listen, I'm willing to admit that it's probably because I sucked in school. I don't know if you know this or not. I don't know if we've ever talked about this on stream. There were 350 people in my graduating high school class. So it was a small class that I graduated from. And I can unequivocally tell you that I was number 349 out of 350 in my high school class. I was that dumb. Right? I wasn't that dumb. The school system forcing you to read books, forcing you to do homework, isn't a typical setting that I succeed at. And it's carried on through my entire life. It's one of the reasons why I can't go back to college. It was cynical, Miss Moonsey. It was cynical, MS Moonsey. You know, I don't self-deprecate on myself being dumb. I just use that to chastise the public education system for equating where you rank in your high school class to being, you know, uneducated. Right? That's why this is also why I'm cynical on colleges, right? When you ask me, like, when folks ask me my opinion on collegiate education, like, it's also that I still think colleges can't keep up. I don't think colleges can keep up with technology. I've always believed that. I think college is great for things like law and things like accounting, things like doctors. Right? I think things like that are great for college. I don't think that college is great for tech. Ty, good to see you over in YouTube. I see you. Luigi's ask a good question about cyber warfare. What's your professional opinion on China's cyber warfare actions when they decide to invade Taiwan? Would they attack U.S. military to delay response measures? So before I answer this, I want to make sure that I remind everybody we are not a political channel. We do not discuss political things inside of this channel. And so I will not answer this with any type of political spin. And I would encourage that if there is chat conversations on either platform, that you refrain from engaging in the politics of this, as the mods will make no short order of dispatching the ban hammer on this one. So let's talk about it in the guise of cyber warfare. But remember that we do not discuss political topics here. Right? Cyber warfare is an interesting manifestation in our current kind of cyberscape that we've got going on. I want to start by defining cyber warfare a little bit because I do think it's important, right? I do think it's important. And administration to administration, the U.S. government has struggled to define what cyber warfare is. And there are a couple of reasons for that. First and foremost is that the declaration of war can only be made by Congress. Again, this is not political. This is a statement of fact. This is just a statement of fact. The definition of official warfare can only be defined by Congress. On top of that, if the United States were to say, if China were to attack the infrastructure, it would be a sign of cyber warfare. If the United States were to say that, then China would turn around and say, well, we've got proof that you've attacked our infrastructure, so therefore you're saying that we're at cyber war, therefore we're going to declare cyber war on you, and now you have a mutually assured destruction vis-a-vis cyber warfare. Right? And so defining cyber warfare in today's cybersecurity landscape is very hard from a taxonomy perspective. From a tactical execution, what happens on the ground, make no mistake about it. The U.S. is attacking China. The U.S. is attacking Russia. The U.S. is attacking Syria. I know because I was part of every single one of those. And I can unequivocally tell you that those same nations are attacking the U.S. every day, twice on Sunday. Right? And so there is very much a fear of defining cyber warfare, because once one country defines cyber warfare, you give political power to other countries to take retaliatory actions on you as a country. And so it's a very hard line to walk in defining cyber warfare. So now that we've levied the playing field on how we define cyber warfare, in any theoretical campaign, and we can look at the recent campaigns again, with Russia and Ukraine. And again, we're not here to discuss the validity or the impacts of the Russia and Ukraine conflict. We're not here to take sides. We're not here to discuss that. That is not the goal of this conversation. So I remind everybody to keep this cyber focused on the topic at hand. We know from history that Russia has used cyber attacks as a precursor to kinetic warfare. They did it in Estonia in, somebody fact check me, I think it was 2010, 2011. Russia had gone out and conducted a DDoS attack on civic-based Estonia websites prior to conducting a kinetic operation against Estonia. That's a fact. It was widely documented that happened. Thank you, 2007. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that. So it is not implausible, and I was part of several op-ord campaigns where cyber warfare isn't the definition of warfare, right? Nobody says we're going to conduct cyber warfare. As a matter of fact, everybody stays away from it. But what they're absolutely willing to do, and what they will unequivocally do every time, is they will use tactics and techniques and procedures from a cyber toolkit as precursor or leading indicators to kinetic warfare. Make sure you ask questions if that is unclear, because I want that to be talked about if it is unclear. There is typically, if you imagine a toolbox of cyber capabilities, and in the Air Force, we actually classified those as weapon systems. They were hands down weapon systems in the Air Force. You had to be weapons trained. There had to be a weapons officer. You got in trouble if you misfired an Nmap scan. Kid you not. If you misfired an Nmap scan, it was viewed the same way in the military as if you had negligently discharged a firearm. Right? And so there are these weapons officers, and there are these intelligence officers who are very versed in the capabilities of the cyber weaponry of every branch of the military. And so what generals have realized is that if they're going to conduct an operation, they'll bring the weapons officers of the Air Force for air command, for logistics, for cyber, right? They'll bring the Marine weapon officers. They'll bring the weapon officers together. And they'll say, these are the mission objectives. What weapons do we have? What weapons can we employ in what fashion that allows us to execute on this mission? Right? And there'll be a bunch of discussion, and there will be an operation that will come out of that where cyber is just used to facilitate the other parts of the mission. And so I think that's the key differentiator in answering this question, is understanding that cyber warfare will only be a weapon system or a toolkit that gets used to facilitate some other piece of kinetic warfare. And so now that we've got kind of some of that laid out, right? Once we've got some of that laid out, I can answer this question and say that if anybody decides to invade any organization or any country, whether it's China, Russia, Syria, Iran, whatever the case is, whatever it is, they will always be looking at what a United States response could be, and they will be evaluating their cyber capabilities to determine the 5Ds, right? Where are my military folks when we talk about the 5Ds in chat, right? Not the 5Ds of dodgeball, Beardsec. I know that's where you were going to go. I was waiting for it. I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were going to do it. Right? They're going to be looking to see if they can employ a capability, denies, degrades, disrupts, destroys. I always forget what the fifth one is. Right? Any U.S. cyber capability out there. I didn't mean to push that one. I meant to add that one to the queue. Right? And so, yes, you may not, here's the thing, you may not ever see it happen. That's the thing you need to keep in mind, right? You may not ever see it. You may not ever see it in any conflict. As a matter of fact, I think I saw somebody say it in chat as chat scrolled by, right? Cyber warfare is actually mostly shadow warfare. Deceive, that's the one I always miss. Deceive. Thank you. My non-military guy went out and looked it up. Right? cyber attacks at the nation state level, and I'm not talking just the US, I'm not just talking China, I'm not just talking Russia. Every country employs some form of offensive cyber capability. And every country's offensive cyber capability is hands down conducting offensive cyber operations against their national strategic objectives every day. I watched it happen every day. France does it, the UK does it, Australia does it, New Zealand does it, India does it, Pakistan does it, China does it, Russia does it, Saudi Arabia does it, Syria does it, Israel does it, Iran does it. If you name the country, they probably have a cyber capability, and they are conducting offensive cyber capabilities every single day. That's a good point, Maz. I don't think Canada does it. Canada doesn't do it. Canada has asked us for all help. Kidding. It happens every day. And so it is absolutely a shadow warfare thing that happens every single day. Cyber warfare can never be mastered. And if you are seeing college kids mastering this, I have no idea what you're looking at, but no college kid can master cyber warfare. Period. Fight me, bro. Fight me. There is no way in hell that a college kid would master cyber warfare. That's like saying an 18-year-old kid coming out of high school going to be an infantryman could lead a battalion of ground forces on day one of the Gulf War. That's what you're saying. Where are my Marines at who want to laugh at that one? Right? You'll never see a college kid mastering cyber warfare. Right? It doesn't happen. And warfare can't be mastered. Warfare can't be mastered. Like if you read Sun Tzu's Art of War, which that is one book that I will constantly read. I think everybody should read Sun Tzu's Art of War. It doesn't talk about mastering warfare. It talks about maneuverability. Right? It talks about reading your adversary and positioning yourself differently. Why? Because warfare changes. The tools we use change. The tactics we use change. Right? And so warfare, the act of conducting war can never be mastered. It changes too fast. Right? Again, apolitical, but we can simply evaluate warfare that has transpired recently to see how prevalent drone warfare has been in the recent conflict. That was something that was never a part of any other conflict until it needed to be. And then all of a sudden, people were figuring out. We saw TTPs change rapidly around drone warfare from the start of the conflict to the end of the conflict. Right? That's a very broad statement. Could you be more specific? There were lots of messages that happened. It'd be great if you could be slightly more specific on that one. Glad I'm getting to catch the live stream. Usually have to watch them on YouTube after the fact. Thanks for sharing your knowledge, Neal. Absolutely. Listen, like, I love doing this. Right? That's why I jump on here and do this like randomly, right? Like I could be doing any number of things tonight, and I chose to come here and hang out with you guys, girls. I saw Fix It 42. She should be asleep. I know you should be asleep. Why are you up? I'm a dad voice you. Why are you up? Right? I love sharing my knowledge with you guys. Why I encourage it. I had a list of things that I thought about doing tonight that I would love to share with you guys. I love answering questions. This is what happens, right? This is what absolutely happens is I come in here and I sit down and I start talking to you all, and then I just go like, I'm just gonna keep talking to you. I'm just gonna keep talking to you. I'm uploading Twitch highlights to YouTube. That's funny. The social media grind never, ever ends. But I'm glad you're here. Always catch the live. Speaking of the lives, just to remind everybody, next week I will be in New York. So, first and foremost, if you're in the New York area, if you're in Midtown Manhattan, I will be in Midtown Manhattan starting Sunday until Wednesday night. I know Jack's hearing this for the first time. I had to wait to confirm the travel, Jack. That's why I didn't tell you yet. So if you're in the greater New York area, if you can make it to Midtown Manhattan next week, there's always an opportunity for us to do dinner. So I will be at a client site, so I can't see you during the day, right? But I can meet you in the morning for coffee, or I can meet you in the evening for dinner. Happy hour, dinner, drinks, somewhere around in there. I need you to reach out to me or reach out to Maz in Discord. Maz is my secretary sometimes, to help coordinate schedules. You can have some time with me. We can do whatever we need to. Right? Right? Do what we got to. But that's always hard. But with that being said, so next week, the only stream that we're going to do is Tea with a Hacker. We're supposed to do a threat breakdown with Jason, and I was just on the call with him today, and he has an amazing, like he's got some great shit that he's going to share at the next threat brief. I've got to figure out from him when we're going to do the next threat brief. It's going to be next week, but I need to figure out with him if he can swing it in between some of the client meetings that I've got next week. But next week, there will be a threat brief. Reminder to turn the social media notifications on so you get that notification as to when that's going to be. I always have travel in the works. Maz is 100% spot on. With that being said, actually, I'm going to look at my calendar right now. We need to get these put into Hacker Meetup somewhere. Like, that's your to-do. I'm tasking Maz out. We need to put these into Hacker Meetup. But I'll tell you right now, next week I'll be in New York. 23rd, through the 26th, I'll be in New York. After that, March 10th through March 13th, I'll be in New Orleans. March 10th through March 13th, I'll be in New Orleans, speaking at FSISAC. The 22nd through the 29th, I'll be in Daytona Beach. And then I've got some golf stuff that's happening in April. I'll let you know on the golf stuff that's happening in April. I always appreciate everybody following me on the golf journey as well. I've yet to decide if I'm going to go to RSA. I may be in San Francisco the 31st through the 4th. Yet to be determined. Yet to be determined on that. But that covers my travel for March. So if you're in New York, if you're in New Orleans, and listen, I'll never ask you to travel to those locations, right? This is if you feel compelled. I know there are some people who said, I'll drive. I've had people be like, I'll drive wherever you are, Neal. I appreciate that. Don't feel obligated to. If you're in that area, though, if you think you're going to be in that area, it is free coaching, mentorship, just bullshit time with me. All day, every day. All right? I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. What state do I live in? I'm in North Carolina right now. And I'll say this, right? I always talk about this. If you're anywhere that I'm at, there are a couple ways that you can spend time with me. We can have coffee. We can have lunch. We can have dinner. You can't have all three. You can have one. I may, I'll be very transparent on the amount of time we have. Just depends on how many people want to meet in a particular area. Right? So I ask that you be respectful if I have to manage multiple schedules to meet with you. Just ask that you be respectful of that. If you want 4 hours with me, you can absolutely take me golfing. That does not mean that you have to golf. You can drive the golf cart around and I'll take it as a practice round and I'll practice. You can drive the golf cart around, laugh at my duffed shots, laugh when I put it in the water, whatever you want. But if you take me to go play golf, you can absolutely get 4 hours of time with me. I've had somebody take me to Top Golf. They booked a 2-hour session at Top Golf, and I'll sit there at Top Golf with you, and you can do Top Golf with me for 2 hours while I hit the balls at Top Golf. Right? Absolutely, I golf in Florida. Over the Christmas holiday, I was in Miami. I love going to Miami. I love going to Florida to play golf. It's not uncommon for me to roll down to Florida to play some golf. Absolutely, all day, every day. All day, every day. This is why, again, I stress it's important to tune into the streams. It's important to pay attention to social media. All the social media accounts, because I do try to be as transparent as humanly possible to give you the opportunities whether to listen to me here or you can listen to me yap in real life. I love it. I love it. Oh, man, it's 9 o'clock. Holy shit. How long have we been streaming? Goes by so fast. Hour, 40 minutes? Man. I need to plan another trip to Atlanta. Here's my promise. Now, especially now that I got a connection who's going to get me into any private and public golf course in Atlanta. I'm going to drive to Atlanta way more often. I'm going to drive to Atlanta way more often. I got to bring the Jeep down to Atlanta. Matt is dying to see the Jeep after the upgrades, so I can promise you that at some point in time between all these travels, when I get the Jeep back, I'm taking the Jeep down to Atlanta. We may come down to Atlanta before we head to Jeep Beach. That is a strategy we've talked about. There may be an opportunity to see me and the new Jeep in Atlanta before Jeep Beach. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. With that being said, I got distracted. Thank you all very much for distracting me. I truly do appreciate it. That covered the stream schedule for next week. Obviously, with New York being there, we're going to try to figure out when to do the threat brief, but obviously we'll do Tea with a Hacker on Friday. Yes, absolutely doing tea this week. 1,000% doing tea this week. 1,000%. 1,000% doing tea this week. Can we do a poll really fast just on the Twitch side? We don't have to do the YouTube side. Let's ask the community. Just at least everybody. Look at this. Everybody who's here gets an opportunity to drive the direction of the content. Again, fuck it, do it live. Right? Run a poll to see if you'd rather have the threat brief as a standalone show or piggybacked with Tea with a Hacker. What I propose is maybe instead of worrying about doing the threat brief one day next week, maybe we do the threat brief ahead of Tea with a Hacker next Friday. We'll run that poll. We'll see what the community thinks. Give it an opportunity to think about. The 6th of March, we will be doing a Sec Data Ops. I got another... You guys seem to really like Rudy. So we're going to find another CISO that we're going to bring in on March 6th to talk about. But I've got a super awesome one. April 10th. I know it's a few months out, but I was talking with Rudy. Rudy loved being out on the show so much. You guys seem to really like Rudy and his perspective on stuff. So we're going to bring Rudy back on April 10th, and I'm going to put him head to head with another CISO, and they're going to debate whether AI in the SOC is good or bad. So Rudy's going to take the stance of anti-AI, and I've got another CISO who's coming who's going to take the stance of pro-AI. And we're going to have them duke it out live on stream on April 10th, fight night style, about the pros and the cons of AI in the SOC. Thanks, Brian. Poll's running for another 4 minutes. Get your votes in, whether you want the threat brief as its own stream or whether you'd like it butted up with Tea with a Hacker. We'll use that to drive some decisions around next week. The threat brief is something we do, every other Tuesday. It's usually every other Tuesday. I've got a good friend of mine, Jason Miller. He runs an MSP or a managed security, services practice. MSP, managed services practice, something like that. Anyway, his SOC team, sees threats every day, right? They see tons of threats every day. And so we do a every 2 weeks threat brief where he brings all the stuff that he's seeing live on the wire and talks about them so that one of the problems that I think we have, let's talk about the why on this. One of the problems that I think that we have is that everybody gets very obsessed with the news. Everybody gets very obsessed with headlines. And I think that there's oftentimes confusion between threats that are seen in the headlines versus threats that are seen by actual security analysts on the wire. And so I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to bring value to the community. And this is one thing that if you've been here for a while, you'll appreciate. If you've just coming here, this is one of the things we try to do. We try not to copy other people's content, right? And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to find somebody I could partner with who would come and tell you what they are seeing every day on the wire. Not just what's in the news, not just to regurgitate some stupid darknet article, right? Anybody can read Hacker News, whatever. I wanted them to come and talk to you about what they're really seeing day in and day out as an MSP. And so Jason has been a good friend over the number of years. I met him several years ago at a conference. And we finally decided to put together a show where he would get metrics and attacks and TTPs, real TTPs and real IOCs from things that his team is seeing on the wire and share with you all at the community. Right? And that's the point. That right there is exactly the point, right? Welcome to Cyber Insecurity. I'm not here to sensationalize cyber, and that's probably why I don't have 1 million followers, right? That's probably why my videos don't get thousands of likes, is because I'm here talking about real cybersecurity. I'm not here sensationalizing Flipper Zero. I'm not here sensationalizing all this other stuff. I'm here talking about the real world. And that just shows that you all are the dedicated ones who understand the real world of cybersecurity. And the poll says that everybody wants the threat brief to be its own standalone stream. So we'll continue to leave that its own standalone stream. So yes, not going to lie, you may attend a threat brief and go like, well, that wasn't very exciting. And that might be true. But you know what it is? It's something you can take back to your company. And it's something you can implement today that will probably protect you today. And that's my promise to you. Thank you for the question. We try to keep it fun. We try to keep it upbeat. Things like that. What are good cybersecurity conferences to go to? Only the local ones. Only the local ones. I am vehemently against Black Hat, DEF CON, RSA, anything big, I'm vehemently against. Once it gets to a certain point, once the conference gets to a certain point, it's all commercialized. Right? Once it gets to a certain point, it's all commercialized. And once it's commercialized, there's a lot of things that get lost in the conference. Right? And I think that's the struggle that I have with conferences. Is that sometimes the real meaning of the conference gets super, super lost in the commercialization. Right? Right? And this is a fair follow-on. 1,000% fair follow-on. Right? This is a double-edged sword. Can you network at conferences? Yes. Are you guaranteed to network at conferences? Only if you put in the work to do so. I am like, again, I'm just going to tell you how it is. If you are like, I'm going to buy a ticket to Black Hat, I'm going to buy a ticket to DEF CON, and I'm going to show up there and network, congratulations, you have failed successfully before you ever showed up at the door. Failed successfully. I can't stress that enough, right? If you don't plan before you show up at these events, you'll find networking at an event to be the hardest thing ever. Right? It will be the hardest thing ever. There are thousands of people that show up to Black Hat and DEF CON. What are you going to do? Are you going to stand at the front of Black Hat and DEF CON and shake everybody's hand? Hi, I'm Neal. I'd like to network with you. Oh, hi, I'm Neal. I'd like to network with you. Oh, hi, I'm Neal. I'd like to network with you. Oh, hi, I'm Neal. I'd like to network with you. Is that what you're going to do? Realistically, think about that. Right? It's just not realistic that you're going to do that. No, that's not what I mean, Neal. I'm going to go to Rapid 7's party and I'm going to network there. Oh, so you're going to go to some room that they've rented out for the party with a bunch of drunk people, and you're going to try to network with a bunch of drunk people who are just trying to party. Congratulations, you're going to a club. Right? How does that... Do you want to network with people who are only at the party to get drunk because it's free alcohol? Think about that. Is that the type of network connection you want to have? Right? No, Neal, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I saw that there was this one vendor who's going to have a pool party where you could just come by every day and hang out by the pool. Oh, so you're telling me that you want to go to Vegas and you want to get in your bathing suit and you want to go to a pool party with professionals that you may either work with, be a customer of, or be a vendor for at some point in time in your career. Say these things out loud when you try to justify how you're going to network at Black Hat and DEF CON. Those things don't work. Let me tell you what I do, and you can take it with a grain of salt. Right? I think there's some people in chat who have been with me as I've executed this strategy, and they've seen it work firsthand. Right? Who's the guy, Brian? Had the glasses, worked on cars. He was with us in Vegas when we were there. He followed me around everywhere. He was literally with me every day. He worked for Joel for a while. You know who I'm talking about? You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Com Bombadil. There it is. Look, Mike's got it. Com Bombadil. 1 year for Black Hat and DEF CON. I invited one community member that if they could get to Vegas, they could literally follow me around everywhere I went in Vegas. They could participate in any meeting that I participated in where the people I participated in the meeting with didn't expressly say because of NDAs this person couldn't participate. Nathan was that person. He went with me to every meeting I attended. Right? The reason that we had so many meetings was because for the months leading up to Black Hat and DEF CON, I do exactly what I do here, which is I reach out to people and I say, I'm going to be in this town. Would you like to meet? Let's get an hour on the calendar and let's have a meeting. I make people aware I'm going to be in a town and say, if you want to meet with me, I need you to reach out with me and start scheduling time with me. And I spent the entire week I think I visited the showroom floor once just to say I went on the showroom floor. Just to see what the booths had available. And every other time was spent in some meeting networking with people that I set up meetings with beforehand. Right? That's how you're successful at networking at the big conferences. This is why I advocate for smaller conferences because, yes, at smaller conferences, you truly can show up and everybody wants to talk to you because it's so small. It's so small. Everybody wants to talk to you. Please go support your local smaller conferences. Another cyber warfare type of question. What do you think about allowing hackers to go after enemy countries without punishment like Russia tends to allow? Not a new concept. Not a new concept. Right? I've worked with the FBI a number of years. One of the most frustrating experiences ever is working with the FBI. Holy mother of God. What the fuck is that? Quick, somebody check see if his account's hacked. Dear Lord. I'm at a loss for words right now. Caseco. That's all I remember from you is Caseco. Anyway, I've always struggled with this concept because the US doesn't allow it. Or doesn't actively pursue this strategy. But it's not uncommon for a lot of countries. And what we're talking about here, if you're reading this comment, right? If you're reading this comment, what we're really talking about here is that certain countries don't punish hackers who align their offensive security shenanigans with national security interest. It's probably the best way to put it. One of my specialties, right, was I worked closely on Russian APT work when I was in, right? And we uncovered a very interesting set of TTPs a pretty interesting set of TTPs where Russian hackers would deploy a botnet to a multitude of computers through their phishing campaigns. And they were specifically instructed by Russian FSB that if they came across certain targets, that if they turned them over to FSB, or if they uninstalled their banking malware and put in the FSB implant, no harm would come to them. It was very common practice. It was very common practice to do that. And so I saw I really struggle on the fence with this concept. It is a hard concept to digest, right? But it makes sense in a certain light, right? You get to distance yourself, right, from plausible deniability of civilian hackers. You get to utilize an army that is potentially infinite and can potentially move faster than bureaucratic military TTPs. That was weird. Looked like my Twitch session froze for a second there. Right? And so it is a hard concept to grasp because there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of advantages for a nation state to allow that to happen. There's also a lot of risk, as you can imagine. There's a lot of risk to allow that to happen because now they're not under any type of military control. Technically, they're breaking the law. They're breaking international law. They're potentially breaking, it is still technically illegal under the U.S. Legal Code Title 18 to do any form of unauthorized computer entry. Little known fact, when I had to fill out my SF-86 for my security clearance, there is a line on the last page that says, have you ever illegally accessed a computer system? And I could never answer that question truthfully because technically the answer was yes, but I couldn't reveal that because I was holding a security clearance that wouldn't allow me to reveal it. Because even if you're doing it for the United States government, it's still an illegal act under the military code. Or, I mean, under the legal code. So, to your root of your question, what are my thoughts on this? I think it's innovative for countries to embrace this because there's a lot of good things from a nation state perspective that can come out of a civilian hacker force. I also acknowledge the challenges that come with running a civilian hacker force. So I'm with you. It is challenging as fuck. I did that one on purpose, Brian. I see Cyberties has joined us. I've chatted with him on the back end, and he says he is nervous about doing his mentoring session, but he's willing to do his mentoring session live. Now, it's been a hot minute since we did this, and we have not prepared anything for this, and so we're going to come in hot to make this happen. And so I say all this so that Brian can go like, what in the fuck is Neal doing? 15 minutes. It's only 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute mentoring session. That's all it is. I know you don't know shit. Why are Do you remember when we set up the Discord rooms for the call-in? Yeah, let's do it that way. Bring him into a Discord channel. I know we got rid of all those Discord channels. You're going to have to fucking hack one together real fast. Yeah. Well, yeah, bring him in here. Yeah. Well, I need you to go over the rules with him. I need you to audio check him. Okay. All right. Because one of the other things is I've got to make sure that Discord is going to come through. Aren't you so glad that we're doing this live? We're going to do a live mentoring session. You all are watching magic happen right here, but we're going to do a live mentoring session. We have yes, as Cyberties DM BeardSec, please, in Discord so that he knows who you are. He can get you set up. Yes, I'm talking to BeardSec, who is in my... So again, huge shout out to the mods. Huge shout out to the mods. This is the shit that they have to put up with from me, right? But at the same time, they're going to make this happen, right? Because this is what we love to do. And we love to make this happen. So what we're going to do, Cyberties, for those of you who don't know, redeemed the channel points. And if you're not aware of what the channel points are, if you're on Twitch, you'll see a little Hack the Planet icon in the lower left-hand corner. Based on how long you've been listening to the stream, based on subs, based on contributions, everything like that, you will accumulate points. One of the little known points that people have a tendency, there you go. Now we've got people who are like, holy shit, we got points down there. Holy cow, what do we do with this stuff? Right? BeardSec's got a mentoring session. You got your mentoring session already. Had to spend the points. You can accumulate 20,000 points and you can get a 15-minute mentoring session with me. Now, typically I do these one-on-one. I owe Cyberties a massive apology because I just have not been able to coordinate a schedule with them. Right? And so as a result of that, I'm going to do one up from him and I'm going to say, well, let's do it live. Got it. I'm on it. The answer is you probably are. I know anybody could have DM'd you. Because, we got a bunch of fucking hackers in chat. Oh, It's 9. What? What did you say? It's 9. It's 9:40. What the fuck are you talking about? Jesus Christ. What did you fucking say to me? Say something.
Are you going to DM me his name or not?
Did you guys hear BeardSec?
There's an ad.
Oh. Somebody can hear you. Okay, so I got a yes. I got a yes from chat. Cool. So that button worked. That button worked. Okay, so it works. We're good. We got it. We got it. You just need to find a room to bring him in, brief him on the rules. I just put it in mod chat. I'm going to kill me a mod. Oh, God. Welcome to Cyber Insecurity, everybody. Welcome to Cyber Insecurity. All right. So BeardSec's off to go solve that problem because he's awesome. We're going to so I've been wanting to do this for a while, right? Like mentoring sessions are things that I love to do. I love having folks. I love talking to people about their problems, especially one-on-one. I find it a huge service to be able to do this, right? And so one of the things that I know we've always struggled with, right, is some of you wanted to see what that experience is like. Some of you wanted to understand what that experience is like. Sometimes it's beneficial to hear other people's struggles. And, whether you're afraid to ask the question yourself, whether you're, trying to figure out, like, if it's pertaining to you, sometimes it's always better to hear it from other people. Obviously, as you talk about people's personal challenges, sometimes people don't want to open up about it. Sometimes people are nervous to do it on stream. All that shit makes sense. Absolutely. 1,000%, right? So whenever we get an opportunity with somebody who's willing to come live on stream and ask us a question live on stream and give us an opportunity to showcase for you what one of those mentoring sessions would look like, I'm always excited for that opportunity, right? We've used to do a viewer call-in. As a matter of fact, I think, does that channel point still exist? Yeah, that channel point still exists on there too, where we do viewer call-ins, right? And so look, here's a forcing function. As we go to set this up, we can make BeardSec's life even more miserable, and we can do the call-in one, and we can do that as well. But we'll get that set up. I'll let BeardSec come back and tell me when that's ready. I know the button that I got to push to make this happen. I'm excited for this. Hopefully you guys are too. Great opportunity to understand how the mentoring process works. I have no idea what to expect out of this. I have no idea what questions this person may or may not ask. I've never met this person before. I've never had a conversation with this person. And so I have no context or background. So you'll get to see me live, hear these questions, hear these thoughts, and try to talk through and give some advice that I think is best. So, I'll see if there's like a question that I can put. As a nation state sponsored threat actor, is it worth the exposure? If the state changes their mind, you're on the chopping block. In the U.S., not so much. You're still protected by the Uniform Code of Military Justice. You're still protected by Title 10 as a blue suitor, so it's not really that big of a deal in the U.S. Now, because Russia, and I'll just use Russia as an example, not picking on Russia by any stretch. Please don't send the little black helicopters with ninjas after me. They do have a tendency to extort their cyber hackers a little bit more than I think some of them are comfortable with in performing operations for the nation state. Right? And so I'd say, like, you have to choose your alignment carefully, because as soon as you deviate from the narrative, remember, they have a whole lot of stuff on you that you don't have on them. Right? And so that makes it really challenging. That makes it really, really challenging. I think it's worth it. I had a hell of a lot of fun doing it. What do I mean? Yeah, upsetting the FSB isn't a great career move, right? So let's say that you're the owner of the Cyber Insecurity botnet, right? If anybody's listening, that's a fake name, right? Fake name. Let's say that you're running the Cyber Insecurity botnet. We're in Russia. The FSB comes down and tells you, hey, listen, you ever infect a computer system from anybody who's U.S. government, install our malware, take your malware off, have a nice day. Yes, sir, absolutely. Let's say I doing my cyber insecurity botnet business, and all of a sudden I hack Nancy Pelosi's personal computer and see her $250 million insider trading portfolio. That's not a political statement. That's me being cynical. And you know what I decide to do? I'm like, you know what? I'm not turning this one over to the FSB. Instead, I'm going to milk this one for all I got. Let's say that you do that. Nancy Pelosi turns her computer over to the FBI, who runs a bunch of forensics on it, gets your signature, the malware that you put on there, and now all of a sudden they see it exposes the entire FSB operation. If I was in charge of the FSB, do you think I would let that hacker go unpunished if I knew that he violated my direct order to install my nation-state malware on there because he was too greedy to do that? Or do you think I would want to send a message that said, don't F with me? That's what I mean by it could be risky if you don't align yourself appropriately with your handlers. That's what I mean by that. Oh, that? Yeah. Hey, listen, JJR Dev, I saw your question 3 times. Don't ask it again or you're probably going to get a timeout. We just haven't got to your question yet. I promise you I see it. I saw it the 2 times that you submitted it before. I see it this 3rd time. Please don't submit it again. Okay. All right. He says we're ready. We're going to give this one. Actually, I'm going to make this question go away. Okay. All right. He says we're ready. Let's do this. All right. You can unmute him now. All right, Cybertize, you there? Scream for help if you need assistance. Is BeardSec trolling me?
No.
You had one job, BeardSec. Actually, you had...
I did it and it worked fine.
Blink twice. It was literally you had him working in another channel and then you brought him over here and it failed. Why didn't you just have me go over to the other channel? One job with 25 steps.
Fine, we'll go over to the other channel.
All right, let me know when you're ready for me in the other channel.
Go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me in this channel? Now I can't hear me. There we go. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Brian, blink twice if you're in danger.
I can hear you.
Cybertize? And the technical difficulty. Yeah, that's right. It's the old Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Are we in the wrong industry? We're absolutely in the wrong industry. It's all downhill from here, gentlemen. It's all downhill from here. Okay. I took you off of routing, so you can troubleshoot all you want. I took you off of routing. Nobody can hear you. We'll do some more. We'll do some more questions. All right, we'll do the third time's the charm question, right? Have you discussed your thoughts on the dismissal of CISA and what seems like the deprioritization of cybersecurity standard structure in the USA? Again, non-political, if we look at it simply from, a cyber perspective. I said something similar when it first happened, right? Understand that CISA is only one part of cybersecurity strategy for the government as a whole, right? One of the things that I think came up when we had this conversation last time was, oh my God, are we weaker because of the dismantling of CISA? And that's not necessarily true, right? CISA isn't a defensive organization. You don't see CISA sitting on the wire defending things, right? The FBI has its own SOC team. CIA has its own SOC team. NSA has its own SOC team. Air Force has its own SOC team. Everybody has its own SOC team, right? CISA had a strategy that talked about bridging the gap between the public and the private sector. And that has always been a tumultuous relationship in cyber. Because how do you help the private organization when you can't share classified information with them? Right? The short answer is you can't. Right? And so CISA has done its best to try to facilitate open communication with what the U.S. government can disclose. Oh, I heard him that time. I can. It works. We fixed it. All right, don't change anything. Let me finish answering this question, and then we'll bring you on. And so I don't think, I think that the expectation that it will deprioritize cybersecurity standards in the U.S., I think is slightly misleading. It won't deprioritize cyber standards in the U.S. I think it hurts our ability to get clear sets of communication from the government to the private sector, but I can tell you that that's a challenge that's been faced since my early days in the military. One of my biggest frustrations when I got out was that, just go to InfraGard and InfraGard will help you because they're the FBI. Well, you go to the InfraGard and they're like, hey, we're seeing a rise of, Iranian-based attacks against financial institutions. And you're like, cool, can you give me some IOCs? Well, no, because they're classified. Can you tell me anything that'll help me protect my organization? No, it's classified. Can you tell me when this is going to happen in the future? Actually, we can't even confirm if it's going to happen in the future or if it's already happened in the past. Well, if it's happened in the past, what am I supposed to do about it? Well, there's nothing you can really do about it other than to go look to see if you've been hacked by Iranian state-sponsored hackers. Well, how am I supposed to do that if I don't have IOCs? You see the circular problem that's existed there? And so because of that, that has always created a lot of friction between the government and the private sector because there can't be information sharing because of the classified system. And I think that's what's made CISA's job hard. And I think that they've done a really, really good job of trying to bridge that gap. But I don't necessarily think that I believe that dismissal of CISA creates a deprioritization of standards. I think that the organizations themselves need to change how they interact with the public sector. All right. With that being said, great question. Absolutely love the question. Cybertize, you there?
Yep, still here.
Awesome. Chad, can you hear him? Hopefully Chad can hear you. We got that working on this end. Awesome. Fantastic.
Right.
First and foremost, let me apologize to you live on stream that it's been so hard for me to get in touch with you. That is on me. I own that. I apologize for that.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, you've been good about like staying in contact the whole time, so I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you also for volunteering to do this session live on stream. I understand how nervous this can be, and so I want to thank you very much for your bravery in sharing your story and your question with the entire community. I'm sure the community, loves it as well. What can I do for you? I'm all yours.
Yeah. So I'm a college student right now. I'm interning as an information security intern, and I think I've been interning for over a year at this company, and I've kind of been finding that I've been making a lot of strides technically in projects and different tasks and stuff. And I was kind of getting closer with another full-time security analyst, and they were kind of giving me some pointers about like making impact in other ways. So they kind of basically said I was doing really good with the deliverables and those kind of items, but kind of flying under the radar as a kind of personality in the office, and that's kind of like how you get seen. And there's other interns that are like getting some return offers, and they seem like they're more, I don't want to say like personality hires, but like they're just out there a lot more and doing less kind of project work. So I'm kind of curious, what are your thoughts on, as an intern, like how do I kind of balance, showing off what I can do versus like focusing on more like technical impacts? Does that kind of make sense where I'm coming from?
It does. It makes sense. Let me ask you this. Is your leadership at this company, how would you view their support of your project work or your stance inside the company? Do they, do you feel like you have a good leadership? Do you feel like you have a good communication with your leadership? Like, tell me about what your relationship is with your leadership team.
Yeah, so I say it's kind of interesting because we've had basically like my manager's manager got basically laid off all of a sudden. So it's kind of been an interesting vibe on like people's kind of work-life balance and like job security, I guess. So, but other than that, like my leadership is pretty strong. Like it's kind of more open and trusting. Like, my manager will kind of let me go off and explore things and complete things on my own. And if I need to like hang out in a meeting with him for 2 hours and work something out, then he's there for me. So
okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I say it's pretty reliable.
Okay.
Depending on if I reach out, pretty much.
Okay, so that's good. Like if you want to be seen and your leadership is supportive, I think that's the best case scenario, right? I definitely I can appreciate the frustration with hearing that you're doing great work but nobody knows about it, right? And this gets back to kind of the thought that we have where you want to be promoted based on your merits, you alluded to it a little bit, and I don't think you meant anything malicious by it by saying like personality hires, but it can feel sometimes like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. But in reality, I think the underlying message there is that if you don't find a way to communicate the work that you're doing, it's almost if the tree falls in the woods, does it make any sound? Right?
Okay.
What I would say is if you've got good leadership, I would absolutely work on a plan that helps them put you into opportunities to showcase the work you've been doing, right? So what kind of projects have you been doing that you have either been told or felt like have been really successful?
Yeah, so I've worked on some automation, specifically with like PowerShell scripting that's kind of automated a lot of manual processes that my manager otherwise would have kind of been tasked with doing. So that's saved a lot of time, but also kind of it's been removing a bunch of stale data essentially. That's so with this kind of automation scripting that's like in progress and kind of making some impacts, it's able to kind of reduce the attack surface that we have in our environment. So there's definitely probably opportunities there where I could kind of measure, amount of, data after, the scripts run a series of times and stuff like that, where I could kind of present some of that, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly where I was going to go with that is, do you have enough of the empirical data around, the impact that the scripts have that you've been written to where you could identify how many steps you saved? Did those steps save 1 hour or 100 hours or 1 minute? Is there, to your point about attack surface is a great metric, but are you able to say we had 10,000 externally exposed IP addresses and we got that down to 1,000 because of this script? Like, are those metrics that you feel like you could get access to have?
Yes, because there is an analyst I'm pretty close with that is pretty comfortable with like our logging and stuff, and I can get these, specific metrics. So there is some opportunity there.
Okay, I like this. I like where this is going. So here's almost what I would like to see you do. You can do this in a couple different orders. There's not really a right or a wrong order to it. You can either do the work up front and then go present it to your manager. You can present it to your manager and then get their buy-in and do the work. I think that there's kind of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other with that. But fundamentally, I think you should have some presentation. I talk very frequently about a very easy framework to do presentations, right? It's super easy. It's what, so what, and now what, right? What did you do? So what? What's the impact of what you did? And what comes next of what it is that you did? And so if we were to just spitball this scenario, the presentation would be like, hey, let's use the attack surface one. I'm gonna use a bunch of made up numbers just to get the point across, right? Hey, in reviewing some recent vulnerability information, it was identified that there were 10,000 exposed vulnerabilities in this particular software application. And the team, usually took about, 8 hours per vulnerability to try to validate if it was real or not. And that was leading to a lot of repeat critical vulnerabilities, blah, 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 blah. I decided to take it upon myself, or with the work of my leadership team, we built a PowerShell script. Here's the essence of the PowerShell script, and here's what it did. Upon execution, we were able to, instead of taking 8 hours per vulnerability to validate, we got that down to less than 1 hour. Plus, because we automated it, we were able to parallelize it. All of that being said, we were able to reduce those 10,000 vulnerabilities down to less than 1,000, and those less than 1,000 are currently being moved through the risk acceptance, blah, 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 whatever process from there. And so then the now what of that becomes, this gives us an opportunity to look for other places to do automation for efficiency. My recommendations would be boom, boom, and boom. You either build that presentation, you take it to your leadership team and you say, what do you think about this? You get their buy-in on it. And then here comes the visibility part, right? Once you've done all that work, once you've taken it to your leadership, once they absolutely love this idea, you then come in and say, awesome, will you help me get opportunities to share this with either our leadership team or the leadership team in other business units across the organization? If you've done all the right things up until there isn't a good leader worth their weight of salt that wouldn't say yes to that 9 ways to Sunday.
Okay. Sorry, just taking notes real quick.
Yeah, do it. Don't forget we got this on VOD, and I'm sure people are going to clip this. You can always go back and re-listen to this as well. Don't worry about the sound of your voice on the stream. Everybody does it. But the theme of what you're trying to do, you have some very measurable success items. I rarely talk to folks who have measurable success in their internship and have access to the data points to be able to, talk about the value of the thing that they're doing, right? And so you have a lot of the building blocks to be able to put this story together. What I would encourage you to do is to put the story together first, get your leadership's buy-in. Once your leadership is very excited about the story you've put together, your goal is to then get them basically on board with you sharing this story, almost evangelizing how awesome the team is as a whole. It's not about you. You presenting it is the icing on the cake. What you're selling your leadership on is the awesome work that your team is doing and how you can continue to do awesome stuff through an automation project or through risk remediation or things like that. But you're the one who becomes the voice of that through the organization. And vis-a-vis, this is how you get that visibility that your teammates are talking about without you going to your leadership and saying, how do I get more visibility? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's super helpful. Okay. Yeah, I think I have a plan now. And I guess, can I ask one more question? Sort of related to this.
Absolutely.
So kind of like touching on kind of the first part of our conversation where, yeah, and you're right, I didn't mean any malice about the personality hire thing, because I'm still kind of, this is my first corporate job, so I'm like still learning the game, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and part of that is probably coming from a place of maybe envy, because I know this person's better at like communicating and reaching out to people in multiple departments within security. So I'm wanting to get better at that. And I'm curious how you have done that at your previous jobs to kind of connect with people that aren't necessarily on the same team doing the same work, but connecting with them will kind of grow your network and kind of community around your workplace.
Yeah. So
I know the project we talk about, like maybe that's an opportunity, have them share my project with, other departments and team members. That might be an option there.
Yeah. And let's caveat this by saying, like, everybody's social interpersonal journey is always different, and it's never easy for those who haven't flexed that muscle, right? I mean, it's like going to the gym for the first time. It's not a muscle that comes naturally for some people. And if you've never used it, it could feel really, really awkward when you use it. And so, like I always say, accept the fact that, like, it may feel awkward and it may be challenging at first. That's normal, right?
Okay.
When you get past that, finding ways to connect with humans at a human level is a fundamental human trait that we all have to do, right? Hi, my name is Neal. Listen, you give really great presentations. I would like to give really great presentations. Can you help me give really great presentations, right? Or, even, when we talk about this project and we talk about you briefing your leadership, maybe you start with a smaller audience where you say, can I brief the team? and then you brief the team, and then you ask for feedback from the team, right? And then that feedback from the team kind of gets you over that hump of that fear that you're going to get critiqued, which is something everybody is afraid of, either when they first start presenting or when they start peopling with other people, right? To your point, it may be a little bit ego, it may be a little bit jealousy, it may be a little bit, that person is plus X in front of you, and you want to be at that level, but you've got to figure out how to go from where you're at to that level. And so you just have to find your way through doing presentations in smaller teams, becoming friends with them, asking them for advice, asking your leadership to give you opportunities to break out of your shell, and seeking those is not going to come naturally. And the best advice that I can give you for that is that the sooner you make the decision to do it, and the sooner you try to do those small steps to move in that direction, the easier the next sets of steps will be to move in that direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think, yeah, maybe as, like an intern, there's probably too much pressure I'm putting on myself, and, I'm obviously like, it's easy for me to focus on, the technical side of things, and you forget that just, having, a random conversation could be, what you just actually need versus, something that you're probably just overthinking,
Absolutely. That's a fantastic way to put it. Good job, dude. I'm super proud of you. Keep me informed. Let me know how it goes. Let the community know how it goes. Thank you again very much for your bravery on doing this live with everybody watching across all the channels. I'm going to go ahead and change back over to my control room. Again, that was absolutely awesome. I absolutely enjoyed doing that with him. Remember, anybody can turn in those channel points. I absolutely dig them. Wrong button. Because I suck. There we go. Back in that room. Amazing. Thank you very much for doing that. Remember, you can tune in those channel points. Now that Brian and I have stretched that leg a little bit on that, we may do some more of those. I do genuinely love doing them, right? I do genuinely love doing those. And as you can see, like, what I hope you took away from that, right? Everybody's got similar problems, right? Everybody's struggling with how do I stand out? How do I make a difference? How do I move myself from where I'm at right now to the next part of my career? And this situation happened to be a really, really, really good fit, where he's got a lot of the ingredients that could make a really good business case for him to do something awesome. I'm excited for this. If you got similar stories, these are the things that we love to talk about. God, I think that's a great fucking way to end an awesome fucking night. There you go. There's two more for you, Brian. There's two more for you right there. Yeah. I didn't get to do any of the things that I had pre-planned to do tonight, like sending out the vouchers for the winners and everything else. But if you won, don't worry. I'll be sending you all your voucher codes and everything else. I saw some people talking about where do you see your channel points? If you're in Twitch, underneath the chat bar, you should see a little black and green globe that says Hacked Planets. You should be able to click on that and see your channel points. You can do all sorts of cool things with the channel points. You can ask a priority question. You can time somebody else out if somebody's ticking you off. You can do a viewer call in, or you can ask for a mentor session there as well. You can identify all the cool sorts of stuff there. As you can tell, we're I'd love to see Black Knight in chat. Glad to see some of the old folks coming back. Absolutely come hang out in voice chat. What you just witnessed happens in voice chat more often than you realize. right? And Maz is an amazing individual. He leads. He's a leader in this community. Friday night voice chats where we get people together and you get that intimate sitting. He's got something super awesome planned for you in the near future. I don't want to ruin it for you, but he's got something super awesome planned for you. You should familiarize yourself with voice chat because when this thing hits, that's where all the cool shit is going to take place. All right? With that being said, somebody did remind me that we've been streaming for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I absolutely love it. It's been an absolute pleasure to sit here and hang out with all of you. Thanks for keeping me company. One more F-bomb for the road. I fucking love all y'all. All y'all are amazing. How's that? Thank you for joining me tonight. We'll be back on Thursday for Tea with a Hacker. Carmen's pinging me. Not sure if she's watching or not, but everybody drop some W's in chat for Carmen. She just pinged me, so I think she's watching as she hears me wrap up. I'm in trouble. We'll be back with Tea with a Hacker for Friday night. Whether you're on the red side or the blue side or still deciding, I love you guys. Stay awesome. I'll see you on Friday.
They still be hating. I'm tired of helping people out who don't appreciate it. Damn, I'm done thinking about what they think about. Cause they ain't never try to come help me out. Still got the same ones that I keep around. Never switching up, always hold it down. We not in the